Hello and welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Responsible Business campaign. I'm Alistair Greener. If the world is to reach net zero by 2050 and achieve the Paris Agreement, we have to act fast. Much of the investment has been focused on strategies to reduce emissions. While critically important, they will not be enough on their own. Hitting climate goals requires the active removal of CO2 from the atmosphere. This can be done through natural and technological means. One of the simplest is tree planting, and yet companies have been reluctant to invest. Well, joining me to discuss why they should reconsider is Johannes Schwegler, founder and CEO of Treeo. Firstly, what are carbon dioxide removals? Why is it so important?
Simply put, carbon dioxide removals are techniques to absorb and to remove CO2 from our atmosphere. Carbon dioxide removals always consists of two elements. One is the capture function, so how we capture CO2 from the atmosphere, and the second element is the storage function, how we store carbon dioxide long term. So it's extremely important because of one simple reason. We will not be able to reduce all greenhouse gas emissions the next century. And planting trees is one of the most powerful tools we have.
So it's clear we must extract carbon from the atmosphere. We hear a lot about engineered solutions. Why not use these technologies? Why do you advocate plants and biomass or nature-based solutions instead?
It's not either or. We definitely need both. So technical solutions and nature-based solutions. There are two main guiding criteria to decide which way to go. The first is the timing and the second is the so-called co-benefit. If we speak about the timing, there are a lot of carbon removal technologies underway. So we expect some technological solutions to be ready in some decades. So should we wait till then? No, we have a solution at hand, which is tree planting. So we can start with that method while we wait. The other technologies are ready. Secondly, it's about that so-called co-benefits. If we produce and operate a carbon removal machine, the related industries benefit. If we choose the right tree planting scheme, we even so can improve biodiversity and we can improve microclimate with nature-based solutions. Companies can deliver on CSR goals, on carbon goals, and on biodiversity goals. So the carbon investment pays off on different levels.
So tree planting is here and working, and trees have the additional benefits. What is the Treeo solution? What makes you unique?
So Treeo provides the technology and the logistics to connect companies going for real high-quality carbon removals with farmers planting trees. So we have developed a franchise scheme where whomever wants to guide farmers to plant trees can utilize the technology and the funding we can provide via our customers to the farmers and start and roll out. And the idea is to have this globally. So what makes us unique? So we can provide data from each and every single tree measured once a year by the farmer, and we measure the co-benefits, and this data is very powerful because it's real data.
Okay, we understand the principles. Now walk us through the process. How does it work in practice?
So we provide a technology that the farmer can monitor each and every tree once a year. We have the models to calculate the exact amount of carbon stored in that tree. And then we verify from above with the satellites if the tree is really there, which was measured from the ground. The data ends up in our Treeo cloud, And our customer gets a dashboard where they see each and every single tree planted in what location with a geolocation. So there is the carbon benefit, but we also have the other core benefits like biodiversity and social benefits. Farmer gets paid and he can utilize the land producing food between the tree lines. And the pressure going out to cut down more trees, like the business as usual, is reduced because they can earn income from this restored land.
Do the trees that you plant stay in place for their lifetime? I mean, after all, land is a limited resource.
Yeah, that's right. So some of our franchise partners plant trees on conservation forests, and then the trees stay there forever. So the other planting scheme is trees for felling, trees for harvesting. The trees are harvested and then used for timber construction and biochar and are locked there for a very long time. So new carbon can be captured and absorbed on the same land.
Let's imagine that I'm a decision maker at a major company and you've won me over and I want to join. What can I expect and how can I report my company's performance?
So we start negotiating and we look for the right setup as a tree planting initiative for you. Then we do the carbon estimations. Each planting scheme has a different carbon estimation. So then you have to pre-finance that we can start with our franchising partners to educate the farmers and to have the tree seedlings in the nursery. And then our partners plant the trees and you get back every year the real data on carbon removals from each and every single tree. Our clients get a dashboard where we report the carbon benefits, and we have a second dashboard where we report on core benefits. This consists of 8 different things, the core benefits, like biodiversity, like social issues, like additional income, like education for the people, like watershed management and that kind of things. Everything you will see on the dashboard which is provided according to your needs and ready to be reported into the CSR reporting framework of the European Union.
This was Johannes Schwegler, founder and CEO of Treeo.